Junk food supper.
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 Junk food
Junk
supper.
food supper.
Junk food supper.
Junk food supper.
Junk food supper.
Junk food supper.
Welcome to Junk Food Supper, episode 29, the podcast where we are, mostly similar to junk food dinner on a week-to-week basis, but, we are missing out on Kevin Moss. He's not here, so we're not the full JFD lineup. We're just those Junk Food Supper boys. I'm one of those Junk Food Supper boys, Sean, joined, as always, by my co-host, Parker in the 559. What's going on, Bo Man?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm just relaxing, decompressing after a whirlwind weekend. I had a fun birthday that you were a part of.
It was a whirlwind, as you describe it. I think that's maybe the only way to describe it.
Yeah, I cheaped out at work and didn't, I was like, I'll just take a day off or whatever and go down real quick, but yeah, I should have taken more days off and stuck around longer, or more days off just to decompress afterwards. Because driving all the way down to LA, seeing a band, hanging out with the homies, walking all over LA, and then coming back immediately is that's too much for my old bones to handle. I needed more time.
You could have taken more time off just for the drive down to LA, I would imagine. You know what I mean? Like that, you said it was going to be a quick drive down, but I know on a Friday afternoon, nothing could be further from the truth.
Yeah, we did get stuck in some deep traffic. Jennifer was driving, though, so it was like I was just reading a book and chilling. but yeah, we left a little late, so we arrived right in traffic time. And Waze was telling me very disrespectful things. It was like, you'll be at your destination in 7 miles. That'll be 55 minutes. It's just heartbreaking.
This was down in Anaheim, California, I believe, the county of Orange, as it's known.
Orange County, yeah. We went to the House of Blues to see the Aquabats and the Defiant, which is Dickie Barrett's new band, which I did not know he had a new band. It was very surprising.
Did you tell anyone at this show, welcome to the OC, bitch?
I did not, but I did tell them it's acid, bitch.
Of course. Well, you are the acid king.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand your reference.
Oh, it's from The OC, that movie starring Tom Hanks' son that we all remember.
Oh,
the good Hanks Jr.
Yeah, and Jack Black. I remember that movie.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Maybe the most well-known thing about that entire county. Everybody remembers that movie. That kind of came and went.
Yeah, definitely way more famous than the show, The OC. Definitely way more famous than Disney.
More so than the Mighty Ducks hockey franchise and film series.
Oh yeah, those guys exist. The Angels aren't there still, right? They moved.
You know what? Funny thing, they moved in name only. They stayed in Anaheim, but they are now called the Los Angeles Angels, despite never having set foot in Los Angeles. In fact, the players are barred from the city limits.
That is wild. It's you've lost all the alliteration there. And for what? To be the 6th most popular sports franchise in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I mean, that is about the size of it, sure. But that probably still is more notable than being the number 1 franchise in Anaheim, if we're being honest.
Well, that's a good point. That is a good point.
Unless we're talking about a franchise of the Portillo's restaurant, a restaurant that I recommended that you scandalously didn't attend.
I did not. We got there a little late because of traffic, so we didn't eat there. We ate at some Vietnamese place that was pretty good, and it was on the way, literally on the way. We had to walk past it to get to the House of Blues, so it was time effective. More importantly, though, after the concert, we got Papa John's, which was exciting for me.
Yeah, the local delicacy of the Southland, Papa John's.
Yeah, well, it was a thing that I enjoyed in Dayton, Ohio, when I couldn't get better, when I couldn't afford better pizza. Or when I was feeling too fancy for the dirt cheap pizza at Cousin Vinny's. But they don't really have it out here in the valley, in the Central Valley of California. So I haven't had it in like 13 years. So I had to get it.
What kind of toppings we getting on a Papa John's?
We just got like some spicy pepperonis.
Oh, okay. They got an option there for your spice level on the pepperoni?
I think so. I mean, Jennifer ordered it. I do know that the pepperonis were more spicy than your average pepperoni. So I don't know if it was specifically a spicy pepperoni or if they're just bringing the heat with their pepperonis.
We don't think perhaps that Jennifer is just selling these as spicy pepperonis and maybe it's the power of suggestion that was burning your tongue?
Well, it could be. I mean, the pizza box came with like a drawing of Shaquille O'Neal on it, so I may have just been overwhelmed by that juicy Shaq meat. That could have been a thing.
Of course. Yeah, who wouldn't be?
Yeah, so it might have just been seeing his smiling face and his big muscles that did it to me. But yeah, so that was very noteworthy. And then, of course, it was a fun show. We saw the Aquabats. They're a great band. They're very fun. It's so wholesome to see them on Christmas. They're out there. They're bringing out Santa Claus. Like, they're doing all this stuff. They're bringing out dudes in gingerbread man outfits. They're bringing out a guy dressed like a Christmas tree. Wholesome. You never seen anything more wholesome in your whole life. It was delightful.
Did they perhaps bring out a fake bat or two?
No. I don't think
I would
there
ask
were
for my
any
money
fake
back.
bats. Yeah, I should get a refund. It's disrespectful.
Oh, that sounds like a fun time, though. I'm glad that you had a good time at the show.
Yeah, it was super fun. I guess they do this Christmas show like every year. We came down, I think, like the year before COVID and saw them for like their big Christmas show. So perhaps it'll be an annual thing. Maybe I'll be down there every year to see this wholesome Aquabats Christmas show.
Yeah, right in the shadow of Disneyland as well.
That it was, yeah. We actually stayed at one of the Disney resorts. There was like a Mickey Mouse in the lobby and all this fanciness. So maybe we'll actually go to Disney at some point in the future. It's been many years since I've been.
Yeah, likewise. It used to be a regular occurrence for me before things changed.
Before the Marvel stuff got installed?
Well, no, I mean, just before all like the pricing changes and the ticketing changes, and it's like super expensive now, and you have to like book ahead of time. I'm not sure if that's still the case, but I know it was the case for a long time. I think it is still the case. And they took away Fast Pass and all of this stuff.
Oh, what? Fast Pass is great.
Yeah, well, now if you want a Fast Pass, you get to pay like $20 a head per ride.
That is insane.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of shenanigans like that going on.
Yeah. I think even, like, we had season passes for, like, a year or two, and even in that time, like, they raised the prices, like, a huge amount. I guess they got to cover the price of all their movies they're bombing.
That's how they get you.
Mm-hmm.
But post-concert, you guys woke up to a brand new day in Anaheim, and you hit the road for Los Angeles, where the Angels do not play, and we all partied together.
True, yeah. It was very exciting. We got together with our good buddies Corey from the Illogical Contraption Show, our man Chalky.
Yep.
I would play the Chalky drop, but I don't have it.
And his beautiful dog.
Oh, that beautiful dog. I love that dog.
Edie,
yeah. And our man Hatless Jackson also showed up, and we toured the Hollywood.
Beautiful dogs.
Yeah, that's a man who loves dogs.
Yeah.
He's always meeting them. We toured the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, which I've always wanted to do because two of my heroes are there. At least two of my heroes, I guess. The Ramones, who I've wanted to see.
But not the good Ramones.
Well, Dee Dee is a good Ramone.
Well, he's no Joey.
He's no Joey. Joey is the best Ramone. He wrote a lot of the good jams. So, and he was just great to look at. Super cool. Johnny, he's a good Ramone too. I mean, I know that you can say a lot of stuff about his
politics.
His politics.
His haircut.
But all that melts away when you hear those sweet guitar sounds, in my opinion. That's fine. You can like, as long as you're playing that kind of guitar sound go ahead and vote for Ronald Reagan. I don't give a shit. Your guitar sounds so good. Do whatever you want in life.
A guitar sound that nobody else could ever possibly achieve on Earth, even if they tried, for years, right?
I feel like you're being sarcastic, but I would unironically agree with that.
I am being mildly sarcastic.
I mean, it's very unique. It's Johnny Ramone when you hear it.
Yeah. But it wasn't just the Ramones that were buried at this Hollywood Forever cemetery, because our trip to this graveyard was bookended, I feel like, by two huge coincidences. The first being, when we got there, the very first grave that we saw was none other than Judy Garland, and right under the word Judy were a couple of blue roses, the only two flowers left on her grave. 2 blue roses on Judy's grave right after we watched Fire Walk with Me? It's a little bit strange, right?
That's really weird. I don't know who left them, but one thing I could say about them for sure.
He's got his own M.O. Modus operandi.
Of course.
Yeah. Someone left those flowers for Judy, who is she? Like my sister's father's girl or whatever? What is he
exactly?
saying?
Yeah. And David Bowie is not going to talk about her.
Yeah, that's true. That's a shame. That I was really hoping for more answers about that David Bowie stuff, but
well, maybe you'll get it in season 3. Do you think you will get it in season 3?
No, I'm going to get less answers in season 3. I'm sure of it.
Is David Bowie going to make an appearance in season 3?
I think if he wasn't dead at the time, I think so, right?
He was almost dead.
I think that he would get up off of his deathbed to be in a David Lynch project. So I think he'll be there.
Oh, you think he likes David Lynch?
I mean, of course, who wouldn't? But more importantly, though, we found a grave of somebody near and dear to us, a friend of the show.
Well, certainly a friend of the show, but the whole way that this moment unfolded, I thought was just kind of remarkable, because we're at the end of the tour, and by the way, we should say, Corey gives a great tour. Like I had a lot of fun. We were walking around for like a couple hours. I didn't even notice the time going by. Before you knew it, the sun was setting and we had a beautiful day behind us, and we had learned a lot about Hollywood history. But at the very end, none other than the hatless wonder himself, Jackson Stewart, is standing in front of a grave that says Jackson. And we're like, oh, that's funny. What a coincidence. It says Jackson. You didn't even know you were standing in front of Jackson. How cute. Let's take a photo of you and Jackson. And then we look underneath the name Jackson, and what do we see, Bowman?
We see the name Donald Lloyd.
It really happened. He exists, or existed at one point. R.I.P. I guess it's him and Rusty, I guess, or in our death tally at this point. But yeah, it was none other than Donald Lloyd Jackson.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that was his last name.
I'm presuming that was the case, considering that name was in large print and Donald Lloyd was in smaller print, but maybe it's just that there's a dude in there named Jackson who was a heavy hitter, and this Donald Lloyd guy, not as important. I don't know. And they just crammed them both in there. Is that how they do it?
Could be. Well, that's the way I want to be buried. Put me in there with Jackson.
Yeah.
We can both share a grave. I think that's fine. That's cost effective.
You're willing to be the little spoon in this grave scenario where, have the smaller name on the gravestone. That's fine. Just to be in there together with the big player like Jackson.
Exactly. We can be in there, talking about our favorite slasher movies for eternity. I think that would be fine. I would like that.
Maybe they'll put you right next to Judy Tenuta.
Maybe. I was very surprised. Like, it's kind of wild because like so much of it is like just like very like classy and understated, and like these marble mausoleums and stained glass, and you'll be walking through the stuff like that, like old dudes who were buried in 1923, and then you'll turn a corner and there's just like this big garish Judy Tenuta statue.
Yeah, or a poster of Jambi from Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Yeah, or like this huge Joey Ramone. Like, the way, or Johnny Ramone, like the way that Johnny Ramone is positioned in this place, you would think that he's the most important person that ever lived, you know, because he's got this huge statue placed perfectly right on this beautiful lake. You would never know that he was like the guitarist of like a band that never was popular, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
It is a weird kind of collection of people because, I mean, primarily, actually not primarily, but the only way that you get in there is by paying a ton of money. So it's not really tied to like any kind of merit or anything like that. And so you do see like really opulent statues for like just dudes you've never heard of, or then like there's also like a really nice statue for like Anton Yelchin, which you know, good actor. I liked him, and you know, it was tragic that he died young. But I wouldn't put him on a list of like Marlon Brandos or anything of like legendary actors that you would expect to see like a very ornate bronze sculpture of. But there he is, you know, just gazing over the lake.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, yeah, definitely a good actor, but yeah, like that compared with like Mel Blanc, you know, like who's just got like a normal tombstone. Like it's wild to see.
I guess I was most excited to see the grave of Don Adams, Inspector Gadget himself, aka Maxwell Smart from Get Smart. But overall, yeah, it was just like a pretty diverse selection of famous people and some non-famous people that had weird, kind of interesting graves as well. So, if you are, you know, in LA, I would say hit up Corey, check out this punk rock graveyard tour that he does, and even if he's not available, I would also just recommend the Hollywood Forever as a place to go check out.
Yeah, it was super fun. It was great. Corey did a great job. He's very nice to have to have treated us to that. So it was a good time.
What other highlights do you have from your whirlwind adventures in Los Angeles, California?
Well, I think you know the true highlight of what happened. We went to Chili John's.
We did go to Chili John's.
I've been thinking about that chili this whole time. I would love to have it again in life. It was so good.
I can still kind of taste it, actually. If I squeeze my tongue together on the top of like the roof of my mouth, I can kind of get some juice out of it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this John fellow, he brought the Midwest style of chili, the Southwest Ohio style of chili. It's a little bit different from your normal Southwest Ohio, but he brought the spirit of this kind of chili to California.
Which, and to be clear, how would we describe, you know, like what is distinctive about this region's chili? Is it just that it's beanless and it's kind of meatier and it's a little bit greasier?
Yeah, very greasy, beanless. The meat is ground up in a way that it's almost like a paste rather than a solid.
It's kind of like Taco Bell taco filling.
Yeah, I would say even finer than that though, but you're not far off. I know that the traditional Southwest Ohio has chocolate and chili, or chocolate and cinnamon in it, in the chili powders. I don't know about this guy. I would assume that there's probably a hint of that. It tasted very good. And then you put it either on your hot dog, or you put it on spaghetti. Although this Chili John, he was also putting it on rice, which I think is interesting. I would like to try that one day.
Yeah, I think there was there another option as well?
I think so.
There's like one other base that I can't even recall right now what that possibly would be.
Yeah, I think beans was one, but that might have been like...
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, which is weird. I don't go for those kind of shenanigans, but...
You got the spaghetti and you got the chili dog?
Yeah, we got the ultimate chili dog, which had like jalapenos and bacon and like a pound of mustard, which is very important to a Skyline chili dog. And it was just a delight. Truly the greatest of all foods.
Well, I love to hear it. You know, I'm glad that Burbank didn't disappoint. Turned out, actually, we did spend a little bit of time kind of hanging around Burbank, and You know, that the rumors are true. It is Halloween Town, USA, Burbank.
Yeah, Burbank, quite possibly my new favorite city. Because they got the good chili dogs. There's like 4 horror movie themed stores all right in a row. A great comic book shop that had all kinds of crazy stuff.
Blast from the Past was the comic store that you went to.
Yeah, it was a good place. I got a little tiny bust of the Invisible Man. I'm very excited about that.
I thought that you were a fool for plunking down cold, hard cash for an empty box labeled Invisible Man. But, you know, you do you.
Well, you know, I like to stay true to the character. But yeah, it was a super fun time.
Nice. And so, versus Skyline, how does Chili John rank?
Well, they're pretty different. Like Skyline, like the hot dog we had was like a whole meal in and of itself. Like it's like this huge thing. Like you couldn't even eat it like a hot dog if you wanted to. Like you had to eat it with a knife and fork. Like, to whereas like Skyline, they're like, the hot dogs are basically bite size, like 2 bites and they're gone. Like they're neat, and it's almost like snack food, almost. But so they're kind of different what they were going for. But I mean, it's also a little unfair because Skyline is like fast food and Chili John's is like a little bit, you know, they're taking their time over there a little bit. It's more of like a sit down kind of gourmet place. So
I mean, barely. You sit at a counter and a girl scoops out of a, you know, like a preheated vat for you.
Well, true. But I mean, yeah. So I mean, they're kind of apples and oranges a little bit, even though they're the same exact thing. But I mean, if you offered them,
if you had to pick one,
yeah, if you were offering me both right now, this very minute, I would probably go with that Chili John's again.
Oh, all right. I like that. I like to hear this.
It's very tasty.
Well, maybe this will be the thing that keeps you from moving back to Ohio. I know that it's been largely a chili-based decision process. Well, guess what? You got chili locally now, so don't fret.
Well, that's true, but we are going to Ohio in March, and we'll probably have some Skyline then, so I might get persuaded by the Skyline when we're there. So what you're going to have to do, Sean, to stop that from happening is you're going to have to wear like a chili suit under your clothes like Nathan Fielder and pipe in the Chili John's chili onto my Skyline. Oh, wait, no, that wouldn't work. That would just make me like the Skyline more.
I mean, I could do it, but also at the same time tell you that's what I'm doing. So I'm preventing you from even enjoying the Skyline. So you don't need that. Look, I'm pumping right on here with Chili John's. Just enjoy this. I know you like this.
There you go. Yeah, that's the move. Yeah, just don't even allow me to try that Skyline. Just keep me full of Chili John so I don't ever want to leave California. That's the move.
Exactly.
But you'll still have to wear it under your clothes like Nathan Fielder.
Well, I do that anyways.
That's a good idea.
So that's just a local tradition around these parts.
I saw everybody in LA, like their clothes were a little bit puffy. I could tell they were wearing chili underneath their clothes.
Yeah, well, you know what? Don't knock it till you've tried it.
Well, I got some things here that you shouldn't knock until you've tried them. They're movies, Sean.
Oh, I've heard of these things. This is the marriage of sound and visuals in a prepackaged format. You know, typically of, let's say, 90 minutes in length or longer, but, you know, it does vary. Yeah,
you know, usually like, 24 frames per second, somewhere in there.
Well, if you're old school, I think these days a lot of the stuff is coming out with maybe even as many as 60 of these frames in a single second.
Oh, I would hate to see 60 frames in a movie. It's
ugly. Too many frames. How would you even fill all of those frames?
Exactly.
Well, the script's gonna be 3 times as long?
Yeah. No wonder these writers are striking.
Exactly. They're not getting paid for the extra frames.
Mm-hmm. So we're approaching the end of the year. And we got a lot to think about. We're going to have to come up at some point in the next couple of months our favorite junk food movies, and we're going to, even sooner than that, have to come up with our favorite 2023 movies. But in the meantime, I thought it would be a good idea to come up with our top 3 first-time watches of 2023 that were not 2023 movies and were not junk food dinner movies. It's a very specific range of movies.
I think it's what everybody's been asking of us this entire time. They demand to know, what were your favorite movies of the year that were not 2023 movies and also were not junk food movies? People ask me that on the street every day.
Yeah. I field a lot of questions like that in my daily life.
And so we're here to finally answer those questions, you know?
Yeah.
Put people at ease. Okay.
I'll throw one out here. Well, actually,
do you have any honorable mentions you want to get out of the way?
No honorable mentions whatsoever.
Well, let me get my honorables out real quick then. And then you go with your first. So I got 5 honorables. I'll just blaze through them real quick. But these were movies that I had never seen until this past year and really loved. Sunset Boulevard, 1950. This is one of David Lynch's favorite movies that I had put off for too long. Definitely one of the great film noirs. Festival from 1967. This is Murray Lerner's documentary on the Newport Folk Festivals with Bob Dylan and Joan Baez and all those people. Thought it was really good. Sophie's Choice from 1982, which is a movie that I feel like we grew up in a time where like that movie was like kind of like a punchline or something, but turns out Meryl Streep and Kevin Kline are both incredible in it, and it's a really gorgeously photographed movie, so I enjoyed that as well. Hollywood, the 1980 12-hour-long British documentary on silent films. That sounds awful, but turns out it was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen in my life. It's available for free on YouTube, so check it out. And After Blue from 2021, which is like a really weird French art film sci-fi movie that is basically kind of like, it's like what if space babes from outer space were fully naked and fully French? That's kind of what After Blue is like. Justin recommended it to me, and I really loved it. So those are my honorables.
Okay, I like those. I would like to see that Sunset Boulevard, especially because David Lynch likes it, and I like him.
Yeah, I think you would enjoy it as well.
Yeah,
we
also,
watched Laura for the show, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of in that vein, you know, if you enjoyed Laura, I think you would enjoy it.
I think I mostly enjoyed that movie. Well, I do have one honorable mention.
All right, lay it on me.
It's a made-for-TV sort of Halloween special. One of my favorite guys who is problematic and canceled, Justin Roiland, from Rick and Morty and the Grandma's Virginity podcast and stuff. He put together this thing with a bunch of weird, like kind of sort of underground, not really underground, some underground animators called the Poloni Show Halloween Special. And it's just like this hour-long Halloween special with a bunch of like strange animation, kind of vaguely Halloween themed, all of them. Joel Haver is one of the guys. He's like this really cool YouTuber. Mike Chilean, Lee Hardcastle, Michael Cusack, like the Smiling Friends guy, a bunch of weirdo animation guys. So if you're into animation or Halloween and you don't mind that the guy who is behind this is a weird pervert, you should check this out. It's pretty fun. It's a good Halloween time watch. It might become an annual affair in my house.
And if you are concerned about the weird perversions of its creator, maybe wait for the reanimated version from the Shrek reanimated people. That I'm sure will happen eventually.
That's a good point.
Man, we got to do another reanimated film.
We got to do that RoboCop one.
I'm into it. I think there's another Shrek one coming eventually, right?
Yeah, they're making the sequel.
Man, I'm hyped on that.
Yeah. There might be some other ones out there. We'll see. But I hear that RoboCop one's good. But so my first movie, my first best first time watch of 2023 that isn't a junk food dinner movie and isn't a 2023 movie is Yeti: A Love Story. This is from 2006, directed by Adam DeYo, is possibly how you say his name, and Eric Goslin. We did the sequel to this movie, which is called Another Yeti Love Story, Life on the Streets, on Junk Food Dinner, and I think only I liked it. I don't think you and Kevin liked it. But I'd never seen the first one. That one's the sequel, and I'd never seen this one. And it's very funny. It's like a trauma movie. Trauma put it out. It's very silly. It's about a guy who falls in love with a Yeti, and then like a cult of Yeti worshippers like want to eat him. I don't know. It's a whole thing. It's very funny. If you like stupid, silly, low budget movies, super low budget, like basically just like friends with a camera in the woods, low budget, making a lot of jokes about having sex with a Yeti, then this is definitely for you.
I'm not sure that it is for me, but I'm glad that it's out there, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I don't remember liking the other one. I don't think I liked it as much as I liked Silvio, which is a movie that I was confusing for this for a second when you were first talking about it. But yeah, you know what? You're on theme picking a Yeti pick for your first movie. I feel like that's vintage Bowman.
That is. I love big feedsmen. So it's to people out there who would like this kind of thing, they'll like it a lot. But it's not for everybody for sure. But what's your first movie?
Well, my first movie in this very narrow category of favorite films of the year is Zipper, Coney Island's Last Wild Ride from 2013. This is directed by Amy Nicholson. I think the only feature that she ever directed. It's a feature-length documentary. I think she did some shorts outside of this. But I caught this streaming on the Mubi app earlier in the year. I'm not sure if it's still out there, but I really loved it. I hadn't really heard of anything about it. Didn't really hear anybody talking about this. Just kind of was scrolling past things on Mubi and saw this and was like, okay, I'll click on this. And it's just like a really interesting documentary on the history of Coney Island, and also focuses a lot on the present day 2013 Coney Island and kind of the, like the financial challenges that people operating these rides there face, and kind of, they talk about redevelopment and gentrification of the neighborhoods and stuff like that. And also has some history that is specific to the Zipper ride itself that I thought was pretty interesting. You meet like a lot of local characters there at Coney Island, the types of people that feel like come from a world that doesn't really exist anymore. And it was a cool window into amusement history. But did you see this yet, or do you have interest? Would you watch a feature-length documentary on Coney Island directed by Amy Nicholson?
I most certainly would. I had to look it up. For a moment, I thought that this was the Amy Nicholson who hosts that podcast with Paul Scheer, which would excite me because I like her. But
is it not?
It is not. It is not. It's a different Amy Nicholson.
I had just assumed that it was this entire time.
Either that or she looks very different in her IMDb photo. But I do think it is a different Amy Nicholson.
Well, Amy Nicholson did a great job with this documentary. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if the other Amy Nicholson has seen it.
I hope so. People probably ask her about it all the time. They're like, man, I love that movie. And she just has to be like, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's kind of like us on the street getting asked about our favorite non-JFD, non-2023 movies.
Exactly. I like Coney Island. I've never been there. I wanted to go. One time me and Frisbee went to New York, and we like vaguely thought about going to Coney Island until we learned it was like a 2-hour train ride or something, and then we chickened out. But now that he lives there, I'll visit him and I'll make him take me to Coney Island. Because it's interesting to me. It's like, very old school New York stuff, so I would watch this. I would like to learn more about the place.
Turns out that is definitely not the same Amy Nicholson.
Yeah, that's a shame.
As you've already pointed out, but yeah.
Well, it's good that you confirmed it.
What is your next pick?
My next pick is How Not to Make a Movie. This is a documentary
But what's the name of it?
It's a documentary by the Red Letter Media guys that they put out a couple years ago about the first time that they made a movie. So like 20-something years ago, 20, 25 years ago, these YouTube guys, like met and like on some like message board for movie lovers, they decided they wanted to get together and make their own low budget movie, super low budget. Like they had like $500 and not much of a plan. And so like they all got together and like basically camped out and slept at their friend's house for like 2 weeks making this movie. And like they all had the flu during it, and like they ran out of money instantly. And they had one guy who's no longer in Red Letter Media who like just had the complete opposite ideas as everybody else, and there's like fighting going on, and they wrecked a guy's house.
Sort of
like
their Fredo character, it sounds like.
Indeed. Like they totally like ruined this guy's grandma's house. And it's just like all about like the horrors of trying to make a movie and how hard it is, and them looking back on it like 20 years later now that they're still not making very good movies, but more accomplished with movies in general, I guess. And it's fascinating to me as a guy who loves those guys, to see their humble beginnings and to see them pretty much anytime you have this premise where it's like people struggling hard to make a movie, I think it's interesting. Like Troma does it from time to time, and there's a bunch of other movies out there about like actual like good movies that
like
were hard
Lost
to make.
in La Mancha, you ever see that one where Terry Gilliam tries and fails to make Don Quixote?
Oh, no, I need to see that one.
Oh, it's really good. It's just like endless like insane weather events striking his sets, like just at the like precise moment where he's like, I've set up my collectible thimble collection perfectly on this kitchen counter, you know, and then just like the Mr. Show sketch, hurricanes keep knocking it over.
I also need to see the Apocalypse Now one, but the one about it's not, is it Fitzcarraldo? That one's really
That's good. There's the Dr. Moreau one. Did you see that one?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
It's a good one, yeah.
So yeah, anytime this happens in film, I like it. And I like it even more when Rich Evans is involved. So I think this is kind of hard to find now, unless you like buy it from them, which I guess you should do. Don't be like me. But yeah, I thought this was really fun. I think, and you're not like an RLM guy, you don't know about these Red Letter Medias necessarily, but I think that you might enjoy this just based on their passion for doing a thing, maybe, but I don't know.
I enjoy passion, you know, but I was going to say, you think these guys wrecked grandma's house? You should see what Justin Roiland did to her virginity. I'll insert a rim shot there.
I don't have the Tim Allen drop anymore. That was a nice one.
Your drop machine's got a limit of 2 drops.
Yeah. Very, very small amount of drops these days.
Well, I'm into this. I mean, I'm not like specifically into it, but I'm glad that these guys made a movie, and it sounds like it's entertaining.
Yeah, the movie that they made is called Gorilla Interrupted, which I actually haven't seen. I've only seen the documentary about the movie so far.
I'm guessing that you probably made the right choice between the two of those.
I think so. Like, Gorilla Interrupted seems fun, but I think the documentary is better. I would imagine. Much like those Troma movies, like the Troma movies about the making of like Citizen Toxie and Poultrygeist are way better than the actual movies.
Well, to keep the documentary train rolling, my next pick is Grey Gardens, the aforementioned Grey Gardens, namesake of Edie, the dog of our friend Corey, aka Chalky. This is a documentary from 1975 about Big Edie and Little Edie Bouvier, who I think also are the namesakes for the Bouvier family in The Simpsons. But they're basically 2 batty old bitches that live in this rundown mansion on Long Island. They're like a kind of a deadly duo, mother-daughter combo who at one point in time were maybe more well-connected to like the social scene in New York. Like they're kind of like socialites and kind of a part of the upper class, but they've also fallen on hard times in the intervening years, and so they just kind of live in this Ozymandian reflection of their former glories, this rundown mansion, Grey Gardens. I really love this. I thought it was fucking hilarious. Like the interplay between these two is so funny to me, and this kind of fly on the wall, like non-intrusive approach that they take filming them must have been kind of revolutionary for the time, but it still feels like really cool and fresh. My wife hated this movie, and I think probably a lot of people will hate this movie if they're not in the mood to spend 95 minutes with two old ladies in the 1970s just kind of bitching at each other. But if that's your speed, this is, I think, the ultimate in that category.
I like it when old people argue, you know, like those Muppets.
Yeah.
The Red Letter Media guy. Yeah, I'm in. This sounds interesting to me.
Yeah, I think if it's not currently on Criterion, it's one of those movies that pops up on Criterion all the time, so it's easy to stream.
Okay, I'm in. I'll watch it.
What is your next pick, though?
My next pick is actually me cheating because it's two movies, but they're kind of the same movie. As you are well aware, my new favorite show is Euphoria, the HBO show.
Because you're a cool young teen.
Because I'm a youngster, and it appeals to me as a teenager. And so a couple years ago, between seasons 1 and 2, like season 2 got derailed because of COVID. I think this is the story anyway. And so they couldn't actually film season 2. So what they did instead was they took the two main characters of the show and gave them each like an hour-long movie and just filmed, like, between these two movies, there's only like 5 characters in them. Like, they're very much just two movies where people just talk. Like, one is just two people talking at a diner for 90 minutes. Like, it's like a My Dinner with Andre situation. And then the other one is a character talking to her therapist. They're called Euphoria, Trouble Don't Last Always, and Fuck Anyone Who's Not a Sea Blob. Which I've seen the movie like 3 times. I don't even understand that reference. But they're really good. Like, they're like the writing is very good, and all the performances by all these characters are wonderful. And it's also just a really cool way to kind of like make something when you were stuck over COVID. Like, a lot of people came up with a lot of interesting small scale things over COVID. And I think this is great. Like, you can't do your TV show, so just get your 2 best characters and make them talk with nothing, like no locations, just shoot it all in a diner or one room. Between these 2 movies, there's 2 locations. Like, they don't go anywhere. They just talk, and it's wonderful. I love it so much. So they came out in 2020. Came out not too long ago. So they're pretty great.
Huh. I feel like I never even knew that they made, these couple movies. I mean, I had heard of the series, still never seen any of the series, but I feel like I didn't even know that they made a couple spin-off movies. That's cool, I guess. Yeah,
it's a pretty cool thing to do when you can't make a show. I think you might like it. This show is like very beautiful. They shoot it on film. I think you might like it, if only aesthetically. You're not a teenager like me, so you might not buy into all the teenage drama, but I think that you would like looking at this show.
The impression I get from a distance, and maybe I'm totally wrong, is like, I've already seen the movie Kids, you know what I mean? And I liked Kids, and I thought it was, groundbreaking at the time or whatever. But, beyond that, like, how much do I need to see teenagers being bad on screen,
they're similar, but I think there's a lot you can do. A lot you can do different. Like, there's kids being bad is teens being bad is evergreen. It's you can go a million different directions with it, I think. So I actually think it's more akin to like Less Than Zero or like some Bret Easton Ellis stuff than Kids. Like it's not like so hopelessly nihilistic as Kids. Not that much can be.
All right. Well, maybe a complete opposite from your pick in tone is my final pick here, which is yet again another documentary. And I'm just realizing right now that I picked 3 documentaries for my top 3. I'm not sure what the hell that's about, but it, I guess, just speaks to my enjoyment of documentaries. But it's the Michael Apted documentary from 2019, 63 Up, which is the 9th and possibly, but hopefully not, final entry in the 7-Up series. The series that does not star Cool Spot, despite what you might read on GameFAQs.com. This instead is a series of films, this being the 9th, that I think are specifically designed to drive Bowman up a wall, because across these 9 films, you got 17 hours of the most British possible examination of class and society. It started back in 1964, where they interviewed 14 kids of age 7 at the time, and then every 7 years they come back to those kids and interview them again. So at ages 14, 21, and so forth, until we got to age 63 in 2019. And granted, like, a lot of it is specifically about the very narrow distinctions between varying types of public schools in England, which is not interesting at all, even to me. But even besides that, you still kind of develop this really strong bond with these people, these, the subjects of the documentary, because you get to see them live their entire lives effectively in front of you, over the course of these 17 hours. And as somebody who, me, myself, I moved away from my family at a young age, and I only go back to see them every 3 to 5 years or something like this on holidays when I can make time for it. It kind of, it felt a lot like my own experiences, with my own family when I saw this. So this, I loved it. I love the entire series. I'm really just kind of shouting out the entire series. I don't think 63 Up is something that you would ever want to see on its own. Like, definitely don't jump into the series anywhere except for the first one. But they're all very, very rewarding, and maybe, like, I don't know, like the most rewarding movie watching experiences that I can think of in my lifetime. But, big investment of time, and felt a little bit like homework at first, but once I got into it, I was like, man, I need to know what happens to these people. These are my guys. You still haven't seen any of these 7-Up movies, right?
That is correct. I've heard a lot about them. I think that if I can get past the Britishness of it, I would like it, because it sounds very interesting to me. But I don't know. Especially like the first ones, like hanging around 20 British children sounds very hard to me.
It's the first couple are tough, but then by the time they're 21, they're pretty interesting. And it's just interesting to kind of watch these kids at 7 years old and try and pick out, like, who of them will succeed in their lives, and like where are they going, like where are they headed in their lives. And I was pretty surprised at how the lives of some of these people turned out. I mean, they don't all follow the same direction, and there's some twists and turns in what happens to these people. So again, big investment of time, but I think it's totally worth it.
Yeah, I'll probably watch these one day.
Yeah, look them up. They're out there.
Well, those are our top movies from 2023 that are not from 2023 and are not junk food dinner movies. Send us a voicemail. Let us know what your top movies from 2023 that are not 2023 movies or junk food dinner movies are by calling the voicemail number that I don't know right now. Go to facebook.com/junkfooddinner and hit the call now button instead. That's the easiest way to do it. In fact, we have a voicemail right now. This is from our man, Will. I wonder if he'll tell us about his movies preemptively or not. Let's take a listen, shall we, Sean?
Let us.
Oh, God damn it. It's Will from Richmond. Hello, friends. Hope everyone's doing well. Anyway, for this coming year, Happy New Year, everyone. I would like to request that you all watch and review The Girl in the Red Truck, Charlie Brown. It's a real oddity.
Yes.
And I can't say that you will enjoy it, but I'm sure that you will be happy to see it. Someone's coming for me. Bye.
The Girl in the Red Truck, Charlie Brown, has been shortlisted for this show so many times. I'm sure you've probably seen it on the schedule, like baked into a week, like I was actually going to be doing it. We will do it eventually. I am very excited to share this movie with both Parker and Kevin, because this is a movie that I will definitely make sure that I save for a JFD proper. I encourage people to not read anything about it or look at anything about it. Just go in blind.
Is it an actual Peanuts property, or is it...
It is, yeah. It's officially licensed with the involvement of Charles Schultz, and it's going to knock your socks off.
Okay. I don't know anything about this. I'm not a big Peanuts guy.
Well, maybe you will be after this. Are you a big red truck guy?
I like a green car.
What the fuck?
A red truck.
Well, the show's canceled then.
No. Well, all right. I look forward to watching that at some point. I don't think Kevin will like it. I'm pretty sure Kevin doesn't like the Peanuts gang.
No, he hates the Peanuts gang. Imbeciles, he's called them.
Yeah. He told me that he met Charles Schultz once. Do you want to know what he said to Charles Schultz?
Did it have anything to do with a modus operandi? Hey, pal, you got a small wiener. Oh, even better. Okay.
That's what he said. He said, hey, I saw your cartoons. You got a small wiener.
What a clever use of your second drop space.
I need more drops. That was his modus operandi, Kevin's. His MO.
Of course.
All right. So I guess we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about Yorgos Lanthimos and his film, The Lobster. So stick around.
Nice.
It was mental, but it made perfect sense.
In Colin Farrell's new dark comedy, The Lobster, he plays David.
Yes, a lobster.
The Irish actor revealed to E.T. how he put on over 45 pounds for the role.
Putting on weight for a role, is that like a dream for an actor, or were you kind of dreading that?
For about 2 days, yeah. For about 2 days.
I was wondering, how is he doing it? How's he doing it so fast? And then he's like, oh, I just eat Haagen-Dazs, or ice cream or whatever. And I was like, but how can you eat that much? And then he's like, oh, I just eat Haagen-Dazs, or ice cream or whatever. And I was like, but how can you eat that much ice cream in a day without getting a freeze headache and without missing a beat? He's like, oh, you just warm it up and just drink it.
In the microwave.
You were literally drinking liquid Haagen-Dazs morning, noon, and night.
I was always a better drinker than an eater, and so I just applied that rule.
How did you drop the weight so quickly?
I dropped the weight so quickly just by starving and working out, kind of just that way.
Hitting the gym
Yeah,
hard.
it's just it's so just eat loads and sit on your arse and do not. Like my sister'd ask me when we were in the hotel shooting the film, and my sister'd say, "Going for a walk around the grounds of the hotel," and I'd say, "No, can do. Have to just
sit it out."
But when you come back, if you could give me a piggyback to my bedroom,
that would be most beneficial. Thank you.
Welcome back to Junk Food Supper. The movie that we're talking about on the show this week is The Lobster, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos from the year 2015. And much like I always say on the show, I often say on the show, you've heard me say it multiple times before, I think that this is a movie that is very easily spoiled. Even discussing the basic plot of this movie, I think in some regards, is a spoiler. I think the best way to see this movie is to know nothing about it and just go in completely blind. And so before we get into it, I'll just say I recommend this movie. Go rent it, go enjoy it, and then come back to hear us talk about it, if you're concerned at all about spoilers, because again, I think this movie is best if you know nothing about it. And we might even talk about the end of this. If you want, Bowman, we can talk about the end of this movie. There's certainly a lot to talk about there at the very end of this movie.
Yeah,
But again,
yeah.
even the premise is kind of a spoiler, I think.
Yeah.
Because this is a movie that, does not really reveal itself immediately. It is the kind of movie that you need to kind of sit with and figure out and get on its page before you really know what's happening. But before we talk about the plot, I will say this is the first Yorgos that I saw, and I really liked it. I think I saw it like when it first hit streaming or something in maybe late 2016, something like that. And at the time, I found Colin Farrell's performance in this really impressive. He was an actor that I honestly, before this, never really got into, wasn't really tracking on. And then I saw him in this. I was like, wow, this guy's pretty incredible. It also seemed like this Yorgos guy had a lot of the attributes that I like about David Lynch. He makes these weird, surreal, kind of dreamlike, but beautiful, and I guess sort of darkly comedic movies, that are very weird, but also, are being done at a fairly large scope. They don't feel like completely cheap, weird, just art house fare. They kind of have almost a crossover into the mainstream feeling to them. And there's something about this guy's sensibility, I think, that just kind of hits me the right way. His movies are so sincere but so silly at the same time that they almost seem like a send up of the concept of art house cinema, which is something that I love about them, and something that I think other movies try to do, like a movie like Triangle of Sadness, I feel like is trying to bring that kind of absurdity to the art house, but it just didn't connect with me. But this one, I don't know, it's got that interesting blend of just very silly, but also very sincere.
I agree. Yeah, I think Todd Solondz kind of does that too, which is a director that I know you don't like, but I think he kind of mixes absurdity with like profound emotion, and kind of silliness with horrific tragedy, the way that this movie does, although he does it in more often than not kind of more of he doesn't use sci-fi, although he has one movie that's kind of a fairy tale fantasy movie. But yeah, this movie kind of reminded me of him.
Yeah, and I guess that is kind of a tradition in the art house, is to make things, obscenely absurd. But again, a lot of times that doesn't connect with me, and there's something distinctive about the way that Yorgos wields that absurdity that, I don't know, I just love it. I picked this because I am very hyped to see his next movie, Poor Things, which I have failed to see so far. It's been playing here for, I don't know, almost a week, and I've yet to get out to it, but I'm probably going to be doing that tomorrow night, so looking forward to that. And so I thought, hey, let's talk about Yorgos, because to date you hadn't seen a Yorgos, and so this seemed like the place to start. This is his first American feature. He had done some stuff in Greece before this, but I think this is where most people started to notice him. It was kind of a breakout hit at Cannes and on the festival circuit, and critically at the time. I think it maybe won some BAFTAs too as well. But in terms of the plot of this, I'm just going to cheap out and lean on Wikipedia here. But the plot concerns a guy named David, played by Colin Farrell, who in the beginning of the movie is going to a hotel, kind of a mysterious hotel, after he finds out that his wife is leaving him for another man. At the hotel, he's informed by the manager of the hotel that everyone staying there is single. It's kind of like a singles mixer type of situation, but with some real stakes. Basically, all of these single people at the hotel have 45 days in which they must find a romantic partner, and if they don't, they get transformed into an animal, permanently. They do get to choose what animal they want to be transformed into, I think, before they sign up for the hotel. But they will become an animal, basically, if they can't find a lover. And we know that this is real. We know that these stakes exist because David, Colin Farrell, is joined by a adorable dog that is, in fact, his brother. It's his brother Bob, who, previously went through this experience at the hotel, was not able to find a romantic partner and was turned into a dog. So that's kind of like the intro to this hotel environment.
And this is
Go ahead.
Is this mandatory for people, or does this only happen like because like if you get dumped, you have to go here? Like if you're like no longer a couple with somebody, it's mandatory for you, or is it mandatory for everybody? Like, do they ever really say?
It seems mandatory. I mean, much like a lot of things in this movie, it's not really spoken to directly. You just kind of have to infer based on like context clues. And I think if you look at like the scene where there's a scene where he's at like a shopping mall and he has to pretend like he's married because the cops are like checking people's marriage licenses and stuff like this. And so it seems like this is a world kind of like a Logan's Run or something where it's like, once you hit a certain age, you must be married or we're going to kill you or, you know, turn you into a dog or an animal if you're choosing, which for David is a lobster. He's chosen to be a lobster because he says they live to be over 100 years old. They've got blue blood like aristocrats, which is kind of funny. And I guess he just likes lobsters.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not clear.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of took that it was mandatory. I mean, I guess that's kind of part of the joke is like that society forces people to be together, you know, like you're a weirdo outsider if you're single.
Which I think you can kind of make those sort of connections to like our own real world. And you know, maybe this is a commentary from Yorgos about the societal pressures that we in our own world feel, you know, about, you know, shacking up with somebody and get married and all this. Or, I mean, the alternate way is forget about that and just live within this world, and it's got its own kind of weird rules and weird circumstances, and you don't necessarily have to tie it back to some sort of metaphor for our own existence.
Yeah, I mean, it works best when you're viewing it both ways. I think if you were to view it solely as like this dystopian sci-fi thing, it probably would be pretty unsatisfying. And if you viewed it solely as the allegory, it would also probably be pretty unsatisfying. But so yeah, I would definitely think that it works best if you're watching both of those movies simultaneously.
I think that is true, and I think that is how I watch this movie, is that, you know, on occasion when it strikes me in certain scenes, I might be thinking about like how this relates to my own experiences and ways that I've felt in my life or whatever. And then, you know, other times it's just fun to see this weird kind of wild adventure going on in this world that I don't fully understand, you know?
Yeah. One of the things that is sort of part of the sci-fi world building is they kind of imply that this is the only way that animals happen. Because they say, like, when he says that he wants to be a lobster, they're like, oh, that's a great choice because not a lot of people pick that. You know, the more exotic the animal, the less people pick it, which is why, you know, certain animals are going extinct. So I think that this is, in this world, this is the only way that animals happen, is when people turn themselves into the animals, which is why, like the lady also says, everybody chooses dogs, which is why there's so many dogs. Like, so I think that this is the only way that you get animals in this world somehow. Interesting.
I hadn't, you know, observed that. I think that's entirely possible. I don't think there's any reason to say that's not true, but there's a lot of just kind of nebulous gray area in this movie where you don't fully know sometimes what they're talking about or even what the stakes are in a given scene, especially at first, you know, especially on your first watch of this movie. I do think it's a good movie to rewatch, you know, knowing the context of the world and knowing, you know, the context of certain choices that certain characters make and then seeing how they interact earlier in the movie. Definitely a lot of rewatch value. But yeah, so basically at the hotel, he meets a few other people, including John C. Reilly is playing a dude named Robert who has a lisp. Another character named John is a guy with a limp. And various, you know, women that David is potentially romantically interested in. One of the things about this world is it seems like everybody in this world is fixated on the concept of finding a mate that shares some sort of superficial similarity with them.
Mhm.
So, like an example is the guy with the limp wants to find another guy with a limp. The guy with the lisp wants to find a woman with a lisp, and David, we come to find out later in the movie, he is nearsighted, which they call short-sighted in this movie, which is that a Britishism, I guess, maybe? Or is that maybe some sort of... Is that like supposed to be a reference to short-sightedness that is kind of coy? I'm not sure, but his vision's not great, and he's looking for a girl that's also got bad peepers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I it might be a Britishism, but yeah, it's definitely also a joke about David. I believe. I wonder if that's... I mean, the British do say some weird things. I took it as just a joke, but maybe that is a thing that actual British people say. But yeah, this is like, nobody ever like talks in this movie. Like, there's nobody ever like has a real conversation. So yeah, I guess in a world where nobody actually like talks to each other in any significant way, the only way that you could connect is through stuff like that, is that being like, I've got a limp, so I need a lady with a limp. Or like the one lady in this who like has no emotions, so she needs somebody else with no emotions.
Well, people in this do speak, though. It's not that there's no talking in this movie, but I think what you're referring to is kind of like this weird, cold, and kind of stilted way that people talk in this movie, where it almost feels... It kind of feels like it's like an extension of the narrator, where it's like not even these people saying these things, but it's just like, here are some facts about the scene and what's happening, and I'm going to deliver them in a very cold and dry manner, the same exact way that every other actor in this movie will deliver the lines.
Yeah. That... I mean, in the narrator certainly... Like, they do this gag where, like, the narrator will say exactly what has just happened, or, like, she'll be like, and then David woke up that morning and thought that it was a good day, and then you'll see David wake up and say, oh, this is a good day. Like, they do that a lot, so...
Or even, like, talk over lines of dialogue and just say what the person is saying, like, at the same time, which I thought was an interesting choice and kind of funny.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're going for with that, but it's a definite choice, yeah.
The narrator, I guess we should mention, is, and this is a spoiler again, if you're still listening, which you shouldn't be, but the narrator is Rachel Weisz, who turns out to be a character later in the movie. And so they do this kind of fun thing that I'm sure has probably happened in some movies before, but is not that common, where you go through most of this movie just hearing a narrator, and then you meet them. Suddenly they're a character in the movie, and I like that kind of a move.
Yeah, they kind of foreshadow it. I think there's a scene early on where the narrator says something about like, I wouldn't find this out about David until later or something. So they kind of give you the mystery to it. It's a neat device that they do.
Yeah.
But then that also kind of makes it weirder that the narrator's like so omniscient, and knows what everybody's thinking all the time, because since she's real, she would really only have access to the things that David told her, and David wouldn't have known a lot of this, but maybe I'm overthinking it now.
I mean, that's a problem in a lot of movies. If you want to follow that logic, it's going to be difficult to find satisfaction with every movie, but there are some other kind of weird things going on at the hotel, including the fact that you cannot masturbate at the hotel. They like handcuff one of your right hand gets handcuffed behind your back every night so that you can't jerk off. But don't worry about it, because in the morning you will be blue-balled by the hotel maid. She's going to come in and rub her butt on your crotch until you get a boner, but then not finish you off. Don't you hate when that happens?
I don't know why this would be helpful.
It's not helpful. Well, I think they're trying to get these these people horny as all hell so that they find a partner, I guess. But
That's a good point.
it's not any fun for Colin Farrell in that situation. What else is going on? Well, there are people outside of the hotel in the forest surrounding the hotel who are single people called loners, whom the guests of the hotel are allowed to hunt and tranquilize in order to extend their time. So basically, I think it's every night or so, they go out, they try to hunt these loners and capture them. If they do, they get, for every person they capture, they get a day added to their tally. And so they've got more time before they get forced into being turned into a lobster or what have you. So that's going on. There's just a lot of weird people at the hotel. There's a lady that's in love with butter biscuits who also seems like she's a nymphomaniac and is maybe suicidal. There's a girl whose nose won't stop bleeding that is maybe the subject of affection for many men. Just a lot of weirdos and a lot of weird rules and regulations at this hotel. And yeah, I mean, those kinds of weird rules and regulations seem to be like a hallmark of this guy's movies. That seems to be something he's interested in, is like creating these worlds that kind of superficially look like our world, but then just have all these bizarre different rules that don't apply to the world that you and I know. He also seems to be interested in this very stilted kind of dialogue that is like sort of a hallmark of his stuff, especially in the next movie, Killing of a Sacred Deer, where the dialogue is very stilted, but in a way that I found to be kind of fascinating at the same time. I did want to say, Bowman, I am sorry. Like, I am like legit sorry for picking a movie where the death of a pet dog plays a prominent role. I did not really remember that part of this. Again, spoiler alert, but that is indeed one of the more harrowing dog deaths in a movie, I would say.
Yeah, well, Kepi wasn't kicked to death, so it was very different. It didn't really register as sad to me.
Well, that's good. But yeah, I mean, overall, I just love the way that this movie unfolds. I feel like you get sucked into this weird world where things are so weird that at a certain point you just kind of stop questioning it and you go along for the ride, and you're helped along that ride by a really great cast. I thought Colin Farrell was great in this, but also John C. Reilly's a lot of fun in this, who, by the way, I did want to mention, within the past couple of years, I've bumped into John C. Reilly twice. Once he was sitting right behind me at the Pie and Burger in Pasadena, chomping down on a Big Ben double cheeseburger, I think he was, looking like he was having the time of his life with this cheeseburger. And then just a week ago, he was in front of me in line at Philippe's French dip sandwiches. So I guess what I'm trying to say is this is a man who knows how to eat and seemingly loves to do so. But he's a lot of fun in this. I like him a lot. Rachel Weisz, I thought was really good in this. I love the way that she kind of leans into certain pronunciations. Definitely got the kind of voice that I would love to listen to an audiobook from. If she ever did an audiobook version of The Lobster, I would probably listen to that. And yeah, there's like a lot of funny little moments in this that I think still crack me up on a second watch. Like, there's a moment early on when we're first getting to the hotel and a guy relates this story of his dad falling in love with another woman because she was better at math than his mother. The new woman had a postgraduate degree in math while his mother only had a graduate degree. And something about that anecdote I just thought was very funny. And then maybe my other favorite part was there's a scene towards the end that is very tense. And then at the end of this very tense scene, they like hard cut to the loners in the forest just rocking out to their electronica music on their Discmans. And I just thought that whole little sequence right there was very funny. But yeah, overall, I love this movie. I love this Yorgos, but I need to know, Bowman, how was your first Yorgos, and does this impact your excitement level to go see Poor Things?
Well, I'm still excited to see Poor Things, because it looks pretty good and fun and weird. I have a lot of mixed feelings about this one, though.
Okay, let's mix it up.
A lot of mixed feelings. Well, first I gotta know, what animal would you be if you hadn't found true love, Sean?
I'd probably like a llama.
Llama, that's a good one.
Yeah.
They hold a lot of water, like camels do, I think.
I mean, they're as cute as a camel, but they're less ferocious.
That's also true. I would be a chimpanzee, because they're like almost human, but better.
So, but better, you say?
Yeah, they're out there. There's like, you don't have to like just go to work, but you can still use tools and have an opposable thumb.
Very few chili restaurants in the chimpanzee world, though.
Well, that's a good point. That is a good point. So I like the whole premise. Like, I instantly, it's like not over the top or like super overt, but it's they let you know pretty quick that this is not necessarily our world. This is some sort of, dystopian nightmare world that's different from our world, but kind of our world. And I like that. I like that it doesn't, that you're just dropped into this world and it's not even the main thing. It's, you're given this weirdo premise about this guy who may or may not be turned into a lobster in 45 days. And then on top of that, I guess that kind of ties into it, but it's, there's a bigger world out there. There's bigger reasonings for this. And I like the just kind of being dropped into that world without it being fully explained. As the movie goes on, though, I could have used some explanations. Although, maybe not, I guess. Maybe they fully explain everything they need to explain. But I like Colin Farrell. I think he's good in this as like a sad, mopey dude. A lot of the humor is like kind of like Tim and Eric awkward kind of humor that I don't normally like, although I do like Wrong Cops, and Wrong Cops does that kind of humor. A lot of that guy's stuff does that. Quentin Dupieux, he does it kind of he's in that same sort of vein, and I like it. So it's maybe just up to taste, but like there's jokes in this, quote unquote, where like there's a scene where Colin Farrell's hanging out with John C. Reilly and the other guy, and John C. Reilly's like, "Hey, have you shown him your leg yet?" And he's like, "Oh, hey, take a look at my leg." And then Colin Farrell goes, "Oh, cool." And then that's it. Like, that's the joke. And
well, but he's got those scars on his leg.
Yeah, he's got a limp. But it's like, I don't know, like that's I don't know, some of that like awkward person humor I just don't vibe with a lot. And it's like kind of hard to buy into the humor when like these people, it's like such a cold movie, It's like these people aren't real people, like we've said, like, so it's buying these little idiosyncratic moments is kind of difficult since they're not real people. Some of the humor I did like, though. There's a scene where they're like at a party, at like the mixer, and they're playing music, and the people playing music are in like lab coats and like I don't know. I thought that was funny for whatever reason, because they're the scientists. I assume that they're the scientists who turn you into whatever animal you're going to be. So like they're probably 8 hours a day turning people into animals, and they have to pull double duty and also be the band at the party. I thought was funny. So I like that. Some of the dating stuff is funny, like, you know, I mean, it's kind of one note for a lot of it, like just the idea of dating being very shallow and people being very disconnected and stuff like that is, it's one note, but I mean, it's funny. It's a good note. It's been a long time since I've been out there dating, but I do remember needing to try to find a girl with the same prescription glasses as me, you know? I mean, that would make it easier in life, but if you had the same prescription.
It is rare, though, to see a movie like this that is kind of anti-romantic, where, like, I feel like 99.9% of any movie that is, like, centered around the concept of, like, finding a mate is going to be very much in favor of that concept. It's going to be, you know, movies will extol the virtues of couplehood, you know, except for this one.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, I mean, he does become a couple with Rachel Weisz for a little bit, although that doesn't go well, and he probably backs out at the last minute, I would say. So even then, it's pretty anti-romantic, I think. Although, maybe other people read it differently. Do you think that he pokes his eyes out at the end? Do you think it's a happy love story or no?
I think yes and no. I think he does poke his eyes out, but it's not meant to be a happy love story. I think that's supposed to be underlining, you know, the sacrifices to oneself that we all make in order to find a mate, you know?
Well, yeah. That is true.
But is there a reason why you thought that maybe he backed out there? I mean, they don't show it, and so I feel like it's supposed to just be, you know, vague. I don't think there is a conclusive answer necessarily, but was there like a clue or something that you saw?
I thought that he backed out because the movie is called The Lobster, and if he doesn't back out and go back to the hotel and become a lobster, then we've got Chekhov's lobster here. We got a lobster that never goes off in the third act.
Fair. Yeah, so, I mean that's a good point.
So so I feel like maybe he's a lobster. Who are the people in the beginning? Are they anybody? Or is that like just kind of setting up part of the mystery? Because at the beginning, a lady pulls up to a field and like shoots a horse or a cow or a donkey or something like that. I forget. I think it's a donkey. And then leaves. Are those people we know? Or is that just kind of setting up that people do turn into?
I think it's some of the loners, but I'm not sure actually. That's a good question. I would be curious to go back now a third time and actually pay attention during that scene.
Yeah, I don't recall it tying in, but maybe it does. Yeah, I don't know. I would definitely watch this a second time. Yeah, so I like there's some funny silly stuff. Like there's a scene where like these two girls go to the hotel together and one of them finds love and the other doesn't. So like the one has to talk to her friend and be like, well, I found love. You'll have fun as a dog or whatever. So enjoy your life. I'm out of here. And the other girl doesn't take it very well. That scene was funny. Although in that scene, like you're allowed to do whatever you want before becoming an animal. And she says that the thing she wants to do is watch the film Stand By Me, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Kiefer Sutherland, and Richard Dreyfuss, which has to be the weirdest fucking way to describe the cast of that movie I've ever encountered. Those are not the three people you would ever say if you were describing.
Didn't even mention a Feldman.
Not even one single mention of Feldman.
I mean, it's you mentioned Will Wheaton first, right? I mean, I know that we all hate him, but he's got to get the shout out, right?
Maybe so. You're right. Yeah, or either him or River Phoenix. River Phoenix is the one, because he's dead. So it's got to be one of those two. I, of course, would say Feldman first.
But you're a Feldmaniac.
Yeah. So it's reasonable that this lady didn't find a mate because she doesn't know who Corey Feldman is. So, but I like that scene. I like that the guy fakes getting the nosebleeds to impress this girl. And then we see, like, they make a reference early on in the movie that, like, if you're paired up and things aren't working out, then they give you a child to fix it, which is a funny joke. And then we see later that the guy who fakes the nosebleeds to get the girl, like, the next time we see them, they have a kid with them, and it's, like, not really, like, mentioned or anything. You just have to remember that joke from earlier to understand why, and to understand that these people are not happy. So I like that. I like that kind of storytelling. I like those kind of jokes. And I love John C. Reilly. I was very sad for him when they catch him masturbating, so they put his hand in a toaster. I thought that was horrifying. And so I was like a little, like, some of the stuff I didn't like the twee narrator, I could kind of take or leave at points, and some of the weird, awkward humor I could kind of take or leave, but I really liked the first half, all in all. Like, I like when David falls in love with a lady with no emotions, and then she, like, pretends that she's dying, and he has to not care, because otherwise he'd be found out that he cared about things, and I don't know, stuff like that was funny to me. And so I like that. But then once David leaves and he meets up with the loners, I was just like, okay, this is too much. Like, this is, I can't go with this movie for this part, because the loners are like this guerrilla warfare unit who are doing some kind of nonsense in the woods, and they've got their own rules.
It's almost like the last third of Hi Mom.
I mean, kinda, I guess. I mean, it takes a weird twist.
Yeah, and then we're with these militants for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't disagree, though. I think the loner stuff is not as strong as the hotel stuff. For me, that stuff works for some amount of time, but then by the end of the loner stuff, I was also kind of like, well, I'm ready for this to be wrapped up.
Yeah. I think it just kind of, I mean, I don't really get the metaphor of single people and coupled people, like, being at war necessarily, and then I don't know, the whole, like, allegory and the whole, like, world kind of just fell apart with spending so much time with those people.
But it's always fun to see, like, a Most Dangerous Game on screen.
I do like a Most Dangerous Game. I do like hunting humans.
Yeah, we all love hunting humans in the woods.
Hunting humans in the woods is fun. I did like their trips to the mall. Like, they take these trips to the mall. There's this scene where, like, they're sitting on a couch, the two main characters, like, listening to music, and they just start making out. It's kind of funny. So yeah, kind of mixed feelings. I like some of this. Like, there's some stuff in this that, like, I like. I mean, I will definitely watch this a second time, because some stuff in this, like, now that I'm not watching it, I like it more, and some stuff, now that I'm not actually watching it, I like a lot less. So, like, while I was watching it, like, the whole time, I was just like, oh, this is fine. And now that it's over, it's like I'm fondly looking back at some parts and being angry about some other parts. So that's, like, a good sign. That's a good thing that art can do. So
yeah,
I will probably have some sort of more cemented feelings about this in the future, in, like, 6 months or a year when I watch it again. But sort of a mixed bag at the moment.
I believe it is possible for you to come around and be a Lobster super fan at some point, because his next movie, Killing of a Sacred Deer, is a movie that when I first saw in theaters in 2017, I didn't like. I gave it 2 stars, and then I've rewatched it a couple times since then. And on my most recent rewatch this past week, preparing for this show and kind of getting into this Yorgos mood, I gave it 5 stars. I fucking love the thing now. So I do think his movies kind of grow on you. I think that he's making things that are, like, really distinct, and it kind of takes a little bit of time for your sensibilities to kind of warm up to it. But I hope you agree, at least, that this is a guy making interesting movies, and he seems to be an interesting artist.
Certainly, yeah. I'm glad he's doing what he's doing.
Good. Yeah, me too. And I'm glad that he's somehow able to command big budgets these days. Between The Favorite and Poor Things, he's getting big actors making these, fancy looking movies, and for a guy that makes shit that is so weird to be able to pull that off, at a reasonable budget, I think that's a good sign to me that cinema's not totally dead yet. So that makes me feel good. But speaking of cinema, do you know what your pick will be the next time we have a supper episode? Or is that still in the works? Because I do know that next week is a JFD episode. It finally is the long-rumored return of JFD.
Yeah, Kevin Moss will 100% be back next week for our Christmas show, where we're going to talk about the Siskel and Ebert Buyer's Guide from 93 or whatever.
Yeah, we're actually just going to watch that 3 times.
Yeah.
It's Don't Open Till Christmas from 84, Alf's Christmas Special from 87, and the Siskel and Ebert 1989 Holiday Gift Guide.
Yeah, so that's next week. The week after that, though, which we're taking Christmas off, and then the week after that we'll be back the first week of January. I figured I would help out with your official top list of 2023 movies by giving you a 2023 movie.
Oh.
I'm going to give you 3 choices, though, to help you shape your list. I've got a good, the bad, and the weird, oddly enough. These are all 3 horror movies, though. But I'll give you the 3 choices. The good choice, which I'm saying is good, not because I've seen it. I haven't seen it, but this is pretty much everybody loves this movie. It's like the big horror movie of the year. Talk to Me. It's about a group of friends who conjure spirits using an embalmed hand, and it gets very spooky. It's an Australian movie. I've not seen that one. So that's your good choice. The bad choice, you have not seen Scream 6 yet, right? After you were doing your Scream marathoning? You didn't get to that one?
It is true. I tried so many times to convince my wife that watching Scream 6 would be a smart play, that was worth our time. And I was unable to, but if I've got the weight of Junk Food Supper behind me, she ain't got no choice anymore.
Yeah. So maybe you can round out your bottom movies of 2023 list with this, or maybe you'll like it. I don't know.
It could be. I like that Texas Chainsaw, remake that everybody else seems to dislike.
Oh yeah. So you may very well like this. I think either way, it's an interesting movie. There's a lot to talk about with it. So Scream 6, or the weird choice is another movie from this year called Skinamarink. This was all the talk. It came out last January. Have you heard about this? Have you seen this Skinamarink?
I have not heard specifics, but I've certainly heard the name bandied about over the past year.
Okay, this is a super low budget movie. People either love it or hate it. It seems very influenced by the back rooms, that short film we talked about with all the weird hallways and liminal spaces and stuff. And this seems like it's a very experimental sort of a weirdo horror movie. So people either love it or hate it. I've not seen it. So those are your 3 choices.
Well, just to give you a window into my perspective, what I'm thinking over here, I'm looking at this calendar, I'm looking at this first week of January. What do I know about this time period? Well, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to be ass tired from all the partying that I'm going to be doing on New Year's Eve. I'm not going to be ready for anything remotely challenging or supposedly quote unquote good. Mm-hmm. I got to go with this Scream 6, this junk food of, movie that's going to be probably bad and maybe not even that tasty, but will be weirdly comforting in kind of a lazy way.
Well, that's a fine choice. And yeah, if you're looking for a recovery movie, there's nothing better than the Scream movies. I could watch those Screams on a lazy Sunday afternoon every Sunday. That's exactly that kind of movie. So, all right, Scream 6. Odd that the first junk food dinner Scream movie is part 6, but what can you do? We'll do them out of order.
Yeah, I guess we'll count down to the original at some point. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll do it one day. But yeah, Scream 6. All right, that's the next movie.
Excellent. Well, we've got that settled. We've got next week with Kevin Moss settled, and that is a guarantee this time, you know, and we've made proclamations in the past, but this is a bona fide guarantee. But until then, do all of the things on the internet that we always tell you to do. Go to junkfooddinner.com. Go to patreon.com/junkfooddinner. Oh, go to youtube.com/junkfooddinner, where you can see these funny little music videos I've been making. I've also been posting them on our Instagram account. So come find us on the internet. Come party with us on Discord. Send us an email at jftpodcast@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at 347-746-JUNK. That's 347-746-5865. And, yeah, do all those things. Until next time, this is your friend, Senbiro, for their friend, Perky Beantown Bowman, saying keep washing them dishes.
You fuckhead. That is the stupidest thing you interpreted there.